So we've reached the end of the course. We're on our last video. And I want to talk about, very quickly, I want to talk about adding color to your cleaned up models. There's a whole bunch we can talk about going into color, more than we can do here. It's a whole other course in itself. But I do want to talk about a couple of small things to think about when you're adding color to your characters. The main thing I want to talk about is adding those color separations where it's not necessarily a main line, a dark line like we laid down, but you want to separate some color out. So some of the things to think about there. But why don't we go ahead and dive in, and we'll start with Peter. And we'll just have some fun with it. Okay, first thing is I like to kind of separate our characters from the background. And so what I'm going to do is I've got my bucket, and I just want to go with a lighter value. And I've already combined the two layers together. But this is a great way to test to see if you've got all of your lines closed off. And I'm just going to fill in on the same layer as the wolf and Peter. I've combined them together. When I touch that, you can see that all the lines are closed off because I don't have any of that color spilling into the characters. And we have a negative space right here. I want to fill that in, and boom, we've got some nice silhouette. Everything is looking good. So why don't we jump over and start with Peter and get him going. One thing to think about is I try to pick the colors. I try to pick a certain color that I'm going to want to be pure or brighter, and then other colors I don't want colors to compete. So that's something to think about. So then I start looking at making some of the other colors a bit more toned down, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But let's get into the boots, and the boots are going to be a little bit, I think, a little bit darker than mid-tone, a little bit grayed out. I don't want them too orange here. A nice, kind of earthy brown. They're scuffed up, and I can just go ahead and say okay and touch the boot, and there we go. We've got some nice color there. Let's go ahead and get the soles, which I want to be brighter. So we'll go in here. And you can see, I'm going to blow that up so you can see it better. By filling out things like this, it works so much better. And because I want this the bottom of the foot to feel like it's in shadow, I'm going to go darker with that, but keeping it the same hue. And we've got we're seeing the underside of the boot, so that feels good. The pants are going to be, I want them to be a bit warmer and a little bit worn out. Right in this, a little bit more orange. And we'll go ahead and touch that. And that feels pretty good. Now you'll notice I've got some old lines in here. And what I'm just going to do in a little bit is I'm just going to go back in and touch up some of these areas. So we're not going to worry about that too much. Now the tunic, the shirt, that I want to be a little brighter. And because I know he's going to be sitting, I'm going to make it summertime. And so I know he's going to be sitting mainly because it takes place outdoors. He's going to have a lot of green behind him. And so I want him to pop. So I'm going to make his top red, which actually is pretty common in Russian culture. So I'm going to make that not too pure, but right about in here. And I'll go ahead and fill that out there, fill that out there, there, and there. And look at that, in no time at all, we've got a really nice looking tunic happening. Now, once again, I've got areas that I want to be darker, like this. So I'm going to keep the same hue, which is the same color, but now I'm just going to tone it down and go a little darker and fill that in, fill that in, fill that in, and fill that in. There you go. And like I said, you can see here, I've got a couple of areas that I'm going to have to touch up after we're done. But so far, that feels pretty good. So now, let's jump up to the hat, because I want that hat to be on the bluer side and somewhat dark. Fill that in, fill that in, fill that in. See that? It's working out really nice. And like I said earlier, there's a lot that normally a character designer isn't concerned with color. There's other people, if you're working on a film, that will handle the color, especially the art director. But I like to sometimes throw color in just to give it a little bit more of a sense of completeness and finish. But you'll notice that I've basically got the primary colors happening here. I've got in the blue range, I've got these pants in kind of the yellowish range and the tunic in the red range, but I've really picked to have that tunic much more pure so it stands out a little bit more. Now let's jump over to his skin. Let's get his skin in there. But I want a nice flesh color. And so we'll go there, 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 and there. That fills right out. Nice and simple. Whoops, I hit the line by accident. There we go. So the other thing to think about is you don't want a ton of colors. And so, you know, I could get really crazy and start, like, I do a different color for the thumbnail and all that. But that's just a lot of work for people down the line when you're trying to think about doing an entire feature. But let's go ahead and fill in the face. There we go. We'll fill out his ears and we'll fill out the neck. And let's fill in this negative space, that negative space there. That feels pretty nice. Oh, we got an area there to fill out. So there we go. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna fill in some of these areas that don't get filled in. We'll fill those out in just a little bit. Now I want him to be blonde, and I'm gonna go a little yellowish with his hair. Let's fill that out there, fill that out, there we go. And all we gotta do is just touch it. Whoops, I did it again. There we go. Let's do this. Oh, we'll just fill that out later. Now the collar, I want to jump over to the collar. And I want to go, once again, I want to go with the shirt color and maybe go a little bit more pure and a little darker just to see what it looks like. Well, that's pretty nice. I kind of like that. It gives it a nice little balance. And then with the buttons, I'm going to go dark with those. There we go. So that's feeling pretty good. Let's fill out the eyes. Boom, boom. You notice I've got them a little bit on the pink side. Fill that out just a little bit more. Just to, you know, imagining the blood vessels and that sort of thing without actually drawing blood vessels. And let's go ahead and fill out his eyes. I want to give him some blue eyes, not too pure, a little bit gray, but not too bad either. There we go. That feels pretty good. So this is filling out pretty nicely. Let's, I want to fill in the mouth and the eyebrows. Let's go back to that hair color, and I'm going to make the eyebrows a bit darker. So I'm going to come here. There we go. And there we go. That feels pretty good. There we go. Now let's go inside the mouth. I want to go right about in here. I'm going to go a little bit more red and get the cheeks, the inside of the cheek. I'm going to go a little bit lighter with the color of the tongue. There we go. Let's get those teeth. I'm going to go a little bit yellow, but up into the white area for the teeth. Boom and boom. There we go. And then let's go ahead and fill out the lips. I'm going to go with the skin color, go slightly redder. Lips aren't really, really red, so you don't want them to be too dark. That feels pretty good. So there we, you know, fairly quickly, we've got Peter looking pretty good. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit, looking at that, I want to go a little bit darker with his eyebrows. So let's do this. I'm going to grab that color and go even darker. There we go. There, that feels pretty nice. I like that. So now let's go ahead and I'm going to create a layer underneath and see if we can't fill out some of this color. So I'm going to grab some of that skin to hit some of these areas that need to be cleaned up. Go small with the brush there. We'll do this. And see there, boom. Simple as that. I'm just coming in and filling out a couple of these areas. I'm going to grab some hair color there and just fill that out. There we go. Some more skin color. Filling that out. more hair color right here. I'm going to go with a smaller brush. There I can get that all nice and filled out. There's a little area there that, let me get this eraser a little smaller. I'm going to grab this color, come in here, and there we go. Now let's get up to the hat, grab that color, and we're just hitting all these areas that weren't filled in. Nice and quick. And then a lot of times this is what, you know, it's never 100% when they're doing ink and paint on the films, and they have to come through and they got to touch up all of the imagery just like this. Everything needs to get touched up. So I'm coming through and I'm touching up these seams. And I'm just going to do it really fast. I'm going to leave that belt the same color. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's hit those lines. There we go. That feels nice and solid. Let's get down into the pants. There. This all feels pretty good. We got a couple of ghost images there, but that's all right. And once again, I'm going to get down in here. Fill that out. There. So Peter's looking pretty good. Let me come up here. Oh, that's all right. We'll just leave it. And come over here. Fill that in. Fill these guys in. Whoops, I'm on the wrong layer. There we go. Should be right here. There we go. Now we'll fill that in. That feels good. There. So now when you look at it, that feels pretty nice. I like the balance. You know, feel how everything feels kind of neutral. You know, with his skin, even his hat, which is blue, it feels somewhat neutral, but then you get into his tunic and it's nice and bright. It's got a nice balance, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that balance. Let's jump over to the wolf. This is where I really wanted to emphasize where you might think about color separations and doing, you know, getting a change of color, a change of value and color without the big, you know, dark lines like we have. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's fill out some of the areas that need to be filled out anyway. So we know, like the nose on the wolf, I'm going to jump up here. Let's go up to that layer. I want that to be kind of on the blue, toned down blue side. Whoops. Here we go. And we need the bucket. There. Fill that in right there and fill that in right there. That feels good. And I want that snout. Now watch, this is where I'm going to go a little bit on the brown side, ochre side, right in there. But I'm going to brighten that up. And if I fill out that snout, look at that, we filled out the whole head. So you're going to see in a little bit, actually, let's just fill the whole thing out. We'll fill them all out. There we go. Let's go ahead and get the ears. I just want to go ahead and fill everything out. And then we can go back in and we're going to start doing some color separations because I don't want them to be a white wolf. Let's go ahead and get these teeth. I'm going to go brighter with the teeth. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Teeth. Whoops. There we go. Let me blow that up even more. There we go. Let's get the gum color. The gums are be nice and pink. Just like that. Oh, I forgot. There's a gum right there. And we got to get this tooth there. Let's go ahead and get the color of the mouth. We'll go red again. I'm going to make that. There we go. But the inside of the mouth will be a little bit darker. And the lips, these lips right here, I'm going to fill those in like that. And go a little bit like that and like that for the inside of the mouth. That feels pretty good. There we go. Let's go, I'm going to go yellow with the eyes. Wolves have these nice yellow piercing eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a nice light color. And fairly pure. I want it to really pop, but I still want to keep that value up high. So there we go. We've got that. Now, this is where I'm talking about with the color separation. I'm going to, I want this part is going to be white, and I want it to feed out to here. I want this to be white out here, this color, like so. And we're just going to kind of experiment. We're going to find it. All right. So I'm going to go a little darker. First of all, I'm going to grab that color and just go a little darker here and here. That feels pretty good. I also want to touch it right in there. And we'll go dark there. And then, so the first color separation that I want is I'm going to go ahead and use this as an ink line. And I'm going to grab that same pencil that we used earlier, same size. I'm going to make that 5 pixels. And I'm going to draw right on this level, right on this layer. So hopefully I won't mess it up. But here we go. So I want to fill this in right there, because I want this top part of the muzzle to be that color. There you go. And see here, I've got that nice color separation, and it works okay. I'm going to go a little bit darker gray right in there. And now I want to get the same kind of thing coming under the eye and right up into here. So I'm going to use these. There we go. And that's going to have some color, some hair separations. I'm going to let this come down. Whoops. Oops, I can't erase because I'm drawing right on there. So I'm just going to fill that in, because when it gets filled, it'll fit really nice. I'm going to let this come down and go right into here. And I'm going to close these off. Close that off. There we go. And let's see what that looks like. That's not too bad, although I don't like this down here. So let's undo that. And I'm going to come back to this color. And just do this. There we go. And we're going to close that off because I want to see, I don't want it to spill out right now. That looks pretty good. That feels pretty good. And then I'm going to come in and just touch up these edges like so. So you notice that it's a self-colored line. That's what I'm trying to get, a self-colored line, that color separation right in there. And then we'll go ahead and fill this in as well, or just use the paint bucket. There we go. So I'm liking that color, and I want to do the same thing right in here. They tend to be, I don't want to get too complicated. I'm going to let that feed right into there. There we go. And let's see how that looks. That feels pretty good. And I'm going to go a little darker still for the ears. That feels pretty good. Let's jump back up here for that little spot to fill in. Let's see how we're looking so far. So you can see how that feel that you get with that self-colored line working within the dark lines. That's the kind of look, that's the kind of feel that we would shoot for at Disney. You had a combination of self-colored lines and dark lines, okay? We always shot for that. Let's go ahead and figure out the rest of the body real quick. I want to keep this color. So I'm going to jump back to here. Let's get our paintbrush again. And I am going to, let's see here. Actually, I want to use some of this color too. So I'm looking at some real wolves. I'm looking at these wolves right here. I'm looking at these and I'm looking at this guy. There we go. And I'm trying to emulate that patterning, but obviously I want to simplify it. That's the goal. You want to be able to simplify it and get it down to something that you can actually animate. So let's pull these over. And I think we're getting somewhere that's kind of close. But in looking, you know, we've got some dark values up on top and light values along the edge. And so I'm going to use this along the legs, sorry. I'm going to use this color here and try to get something going on the legs there and see what it looks like without getting too overly complicated. So I'm going to grab this and let's come in here and I'm going to let this come down like that. And then I'm going to do this and let that come up like so. There we go. Then I'm going to grab this color and go, okay, I've got some nice breaks right here. How about I do that? I don't like, here we go, let's do this again. But notice I'm trying to keep it very spontaneous. Bring that up. Then I'm going to go ahead and do this with it. I'm going to close off these lines here, like so. So let's go ahead and fill that in. That feels pretty good. And let's go ahead and grab this color and fill that in. It's not too bad. I'm going to keep going with that, see how it feels. So once again, I'm going to grab some of this color and I want it to go into white. I want to have these 3 tones. So what that means is I'm going to come in here with my brush and I'm going to emulate there and get simple with it right in there. Whoops. That might be a little busy, but I'll run with it anyway. And we'll come in here and I'm going to go I'm going to try that again. I'm going to go this way. And I want it to feed right into this belly line. Like so. I keep saying like so. There we go. And we'll go into there. And then let's go ahead and fill this out. We'll do this. And there. Like that. I'm going to come back to our line here. And the inside of the leg tends to be lighter. So I'm going to do this. and then let that come around like that. Okay, so now that we got that, let's go ahead and try filling in these areas. So let's go ahead and fill that in, which looks pretty good. And we'll go ahead and fill here. Whoops, it leaks out. So let's go ahead, I gotta fix that. Looks like it's still open up here. Let's go ahead and fill that in, which looks pretty good. Now let's grab our darker color and fill that in. And look at that. That doesn't feel too bad. I'm liking this color right here. It feels wolfy. It feels wolfish, which I kind of like. So yeah, that feels pretty good. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna grab some of Peter's skin color there. And this line is just bugging me, so I just want to get rid of that. There we go, that little line on his face, that little after effect. But look, see, we got a nice, that's got a nice feel to it. It feels like it's a still right out of the movie. Let's go ahead and touch up some of these colors on the wolf. We got the areas like this. Actually, we're gonna get down in here. There we go. Get in some of these areas underneath. Fill that out. There we go. It's not too bad, actually. Grab some of that. Fill it out. Fill these all out. But you can see that self-colored line, it really makes a difference. So you can let the dark lines do their job, and then these self-colored lines are, they're color steps. And it really gives it a nice sense for the movie. I kind of like that. I'm going to try one more thing real quick, just to see what it might look like. I'm going to grab that color and see what this might look like if we make the chest that color. Well, it actually just spilled all the way over. Oh, I got to close it off. If we close it off, right here, and if we close it off right here, then go ahead and fill that in. See what that looks like. Let's reverse it. Let's see what it looks like here. I think I liked it better with right now it feels too separated, so let's go ahead and put it back. Yeah, I like that better. So let's go with that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 9 different colors for the wolf. That's not too bad. This is something that we could get into the movie, and it's something that we could make consistent throughout the course of the entire feature, and it looks really good. So I'm happy with that. So that's basically what we would think about when we're adding color and we're thinking about some color separations. And once again, if you're wanting to add color to your two-dimensional characters and you want to do it in a Disney style like this, remember, think about color harmony, which is what we're trying to do here with, especially on Peter, where we were looking at, basically making him pretty toned down with the exception of his shirt, finding that one accent that can make it sing a little bit. Actually we did the same thing with the wolf. It's that eye that really pops, and everything else is kind of earthy, and it's the color that a wolf should be. And also not getting really complicated with the number of colors that you use, because that's something that you're gonna have to track through the entire course of a story or of a film. So anyway, so that's adding color to your characters, your cleaned up characters. I gotta say, oh, you know what? I forgot one thing here. We gotta get in here real quick. I completely forgot. let's get in here, and I'm going to do the same color as the nose. I want to fill out these pads. There we go, and there, and there. That feels better. I was sitting here looking at it going, wait a minute, something doesn't look right. There we go. So anyway, so that, you know, that's the, I hope you got something out of this course. I'm going to fill that in too. There we go. I've really enjoyed creating this course for you. Character design, it's such a big thing. It's something that I'm still learning, and I've been doing it for 28 years, and I'm still learning, I'm still making discoveries, but I thought it was time to put something together where I could at least talk to you about what I know now. Let's go ahead and get this guy over here too. I can talk to you about what I know at this point and just kind of get it all into these videos. So I hope it helps you. I hope you really do some great character designs. And if you do, actually, we would love to see them. So if you want to send them over to Creature Art Teacher and let us know how you're doing, I would love to see, you know, where you're making your improvements and how you're doing with your design work. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this course. I've enjoyed creating it for you, and I hope to see you again soon. So thanks a lot. Bye.